What's a trad wife?
It is a woman who chooses to live a more traditional life with ultra-traditional gender roles.
How I went from a raging, free-the-nipple feminist
to becoming a traditional feminine woman.
So the man goes outside the house, works, provides for the family. The woman stays home and she's the homemaker. She takes care of the home and the children if there are any.
It basically is just women being normal.
Ooh. Don't call it a comeback. Now, hey, check it. The last few weeks, I've been seeing this whole like traditional wife kind of trend. Hey, all I can say is it's about time, bro. Huge W for the traditional girls raised by the traditional families who have been holding it down this entire time, who haven't been falling for the ways of culture, but instead standing up for what they believe in, standing up for their values and what's right. Now, before I go ahead and dive into this video, I just want to briefly say, it's a little sad that we even have to label a woman like this a trad wife. To me, it's just a wife. Like when a dude goes out all day long, works his butt off, supports his family, like we don't call him and label him a trad husband, right? No, like he's just a husband. That's just what a husband does. You might see like a trans husband, right? But no trad. And of course, as always, we got the whole modern activist feminists who come out here who are 100% against all of this and who say like, oh, this is absolutely just disgusting. I would never do this. I would never try to look good for my husband and submit to him. We got plenty of clips all over the internet of that.
There is a viral video going around. She calls herself a trad wife. She has no idea how dangerous what she's doing is. How dare she?
How dare she?
The reason why trad wives and so-called like traditional women can be so dangerous is because they believe it is not just their place to be in service to their husbands and their homes. It is women's place.
They're so afraid of being thought in any way conservative that they will not preach what they practice. And not preaching what they practice is a really good way to bar people from having the happiness that you have.
This isn't just about personal choice or individual preferences. It's advancing a right-wing political ideology and dressing it up as a lifestyle.
And so it's like, okay, well, if you don't want it, you don't want it. Whatevs. At least don't go tearing down the women who do want this kind of lifestyle. I mean, doesn't that go against your whole kind of message anyways, your whole agenda? As a feminist, like, don't you want your fellow woman to be happy? Don't you want her to be doing the things that make her feel the most joy? So why get so triggered? I mean, to me, this just doesn't make sense. It's funny how feminists tell women, oh, just do you, right? Live your life, do what makes you happy. Okay, well, for my wife and I, that means following Christ. That's what makes us happy. Following tradition, biblical standards, where the husband has his role and the wife has hers, and then rebuking anything else that stands against that. It's wild how the last handful of years, we've been told that order is wrong. Marriage, the traditional family unit, that's all wrong. And it's like, wait a second. No, it isn't. Having assigned roles isn't a bad thing. When you look at a fire station, all the men in there, all the firefighters, they each have their own role. When you look at a sports team, they each have their own role. They each have their part to play. The wide receiver doesn't sit there and complain and whine and throw a big hissy fit saying, Coach, why don't you make me quarterback? I can throw too. Watch, let me prove it to you, Coach. Coach is gonna look at him and be like, bro, shut the hell up and go do your job. Go play your role. And see, right there, that's what a good athlete does. He maximizes his role. And by doing this is how he is most beneficial and useful to his team. And if you got each player on the team doing this, maximizing their individual role, now this is how the team levels up and starts playing on that championship level. When each player comes to the team and plays selflessly, sacrificially, when he focuses on what he can contribute rather than just trying to be top dog, trying to be the all-star all the time, this right here, this is how you win. This is the strategy for success. I talked about this yesterday with my friend Johnny. We call him Crazy Johnny because he's all about like end times and he knows everything about prophecy.
I think the rapture will be at any time, but I think the second coming will be around the Feast of Tabernacles. That's when he comes back with us.
That's after the 7 years of tribulation?
Yes.
Yeah.
But anyways, he said, hey, even in heaven, we're gonna have our own roles to play. God's gonna assign us to certain things, right? We're gonna have essentially jobs up there, and we're actually gonna be contributing to the kingdom of God. But I really feel that not only women, but men as well, people just in general are starting to finally wake up to this, and they're starting to realize, families are starting to realize that tradition and all these biblical standards, they've always worked and they will continue to work. That's why God designed it that way. That's why he set it in motion in that particular way, to help us, to help build up strong families, I don't know why culture has gotten to the point where they think that they can outsmart God. I mean, if I was to ask those types of people, I would ask them one thing: has things gotten better or worse over the years? By not following tradition, by not following godly biblical standards, have people gotten nicer, sweeter, or have they gotten more wicked, more evil? Have couples become more loyal to each other, or are they cheating on each other more than ever? So hey, this is a big win for us that follow tradition. Even for Gen Z, this is a big W for them. Sometimes you Gen Zers, y'all surprise me, dude. Like, I be seeing you guys post this stuff up on TikTok and on Instagram, and yeah, I'm pretty stoked, my brother. I think the Gen Zers are actually starting to kind of finally get it, starting to realize. And I was just talking to my nephew Drex last month. He surprised me as well, dude. Like, he's very aware of all these things, right? We had a pretty deep conversation about all this. His thoughts, his perspective, perfectly aligned with God's, and I was actually pretty proud of him. Like, this kid is he's pretty sharp. He's a pretty sharp dude. So damn, it feels good to be a gangster. Yeah, man, that's what's up. So I think this message is gonna completely spread like wildfire if it hasn't already. We can easily look around and just see how our world has been up in flames. It's been completely upside down the last few years. Our modern ideology of feminism, of pronouns, of removing God from school, or how about promiscuity, hookup culture, polyamory, all these things we're coming to find out that they don't work. It's a recipe for disaster. In fact, it's creating more confusion, more broken families, more broken hearts, more diseases. 1 out of every 5 people on the planet have STDs. That's just, come on, bro. That's wild. After everything I just said, if you still believe that the Bible is antiquated and that tradition that just doesn't really apply anymore, if you believe that following God's ways won't solve anything, I got one question for you, bro. Hello? Anybody there? Like, come on, my guy, wake up. If you still think God's ways don't solve anything, then you are badly, badly, badly mistaken. And so I think there's enough proof all around us now that supports that. I think there's enough proof that supports the hierarchy of marriage. I think that there's enough proof to support that sex before marriage is probably not the best idea. You probably want to stay far away from it, actually. Oh no, Dre, sex before marriage, that's fine. That's not even really like a big deal. You know, that's the only thing that I disagree with you on. Freaking guys, bro. You got all these dudes out here trying to justify their sin so they can keep doing it. And the funny part is, you know, all of us men, we want a traditional wife, right? We want a traditional girl. A girl that doesn't go around sleeping with a whole bunch of men, right? But the second that these dudes take these types of girls out on a date and the girl doesn't sleep with them, all of a sudden they consider it an L, a loss. If the girl doesn't sleep with them, oh bro, I don't know what happened, man. I took her out to dinner, I romanced her, I paid for everything, and she didn't even give me a BJ, bro. It's like, bro, you just got through saying that you want a girl who doesn't go around sleeping with guys. Like, what are you saying right now? It doesn't even make sense. Anyways, all these dudes out here just getting real mixed up. So, hey, you find a girl that doesn't give it up so easily, hey, that's the girl you want, bro. Choose that one. So what I'm trying to get at here ultimately is that, hey, if you want a traditional girl, a traditional wife, you yourself, you need to meet that standard firstly. You got to set the tone. Now, I do have an entire 5-hour masterclass on what it means to be a traditional masculine man. It is so powerful, and I really believe it'll take your life and catapult you to that next level as a man. So if you want to check that out, be sure to do it right now. I have a link for you down below, so go ahead and click that. Anyways, hey, look, people are starting to wake up. Women are starting to realize that, hey, maybe being a boss biatch isn't what it's all cracked up to be. Maybe just finding a good, wholesome, traditional, masculine man and raising a family with him, raising up a tribe, maybe that's actually going to be the thing that makes me most happy, makes me most fulfilled, and living my most purposeful life as a woman, right? Maybe feminism has been leading me in the wrong direction this entire time. So I know we're at the very beginning stages of this, you guys, and I know there's, you know, especially for you single dudes out there, hey, it's hard to find good traditional women like this. It really is, but I definitely think that this is the beginning of a new era, and I highly encourage you to continuously pray for your wife and believe that God will perfectly align you on the right path towards that woman that he has for you, and just keep believing, my brother. I believe things are going to change here really, really soon. I mean, of course, at the end of the day, we're still going to have all those people that are woke, that follow all those worldly traditional ways. That'll never go away, but I do think that there's going to be a rise in that traditional family unit soon, and that both women and men are going to drastically wake up more than ever before. So going back to my point here, I just want to kind of finish off this video with a word of encouragement to you men watching this. If you want a traditional spouse, you gotta hold yourself in a traditional manner. You gotta set that tone. The Bible verse that everybody looks at, wives, submit yourselves to your husbands. Both feminists, like modern day women, and modern day men, they always look at this verse, but they always skip what comes right after that. If you want a woman to submit to you, my brother, you gotta submit and give your authority over to God. Simple as that. Yeah, the Bible tells wives to submit to their husbands, but right after that, it says right here, it says, husbands, love your wives just as Christ loved the church and gave himself up for her. In the same way, husbands ought to love their wives as their own bodies. He who loves his wife loves himself. After all, no one ever hated their own body, but they feed and care for their own body just as Christ does for the church. It's sad, bro. People these days, especially men, they got one foot in and one foot out because they got options, right? If things don't work out with the girl that they're currently with, they got the next girl already lined up. Even married men, you got these married dudes who are on these dating apps. What are you doing, bro? They think to themselves, if sex hasn't been good lately, then I can hit up that girl who I was with last time. She does me right. And that right there, bro, that is so evil and so, I'm just gonna say it for what it is. It's literally demonic. The Bible says, love your wife as you love yourself. Do you know what that means? Think about it. What do we do if we get a little bit fat and out of shape? What do we do for all of us young guys who are real skinny that need to put on muscle? What do? We go to the gym. We put in that work. We get aggressive about our dreams and our goals. If we want to lose weight, we start dieting. If we want to gain weight, we start getting in our protein, making sure we're dialing in our macros. Why? Because we love ourselves. We love our bodies, right? What does God say? He says to love your wife as you love your body. And so if things aren't working out with your girl, your wife, if sex is off a little bit lately, things haven't been right, maybe you guys have started to grow a little bit apart. Hey, you as a man, you gotta set the tone. You gotta get things back on track. Just as you would with your own body, with your own dreams and goals, you need to do that with your girl. At all costs, you make it right. At the end of the day, it might not always be your fault, but it is your responsibility. So to finalize this video, what I'm trying to get at here, and a lot of men disagree with me on this, I speak the truth, bro. Like at the end of the day, everything falls back on the man's shoulders. It's his responsibility. The way women have been acting out over the last few decades, all this feminism and stuff, when you get down to the root of it, yes, it is our fault as men. And so many men disagree with me on this because they don't want to own up. They don't want to take on any responsibility. But the more that we embrace tradition as men, the more that we step up to the plate and do what we need to do, women naturally, they're followers. And that's no shade at all. God put that in them. And they will take our lead. They really will. But the problem is that for the last few decades, men have fallen short, which has made women have to rise up, thus creating this war on masculinity and everything that's been going on lately. But as we've seen, there's been a rise in the manosphere, and what's happened as a result? Now the women are starting to follow along, right? That's what's happening. That's what we're seeing on TikTok. That's what we're seeing on social media with this whole trad wife trend. And our main goal here is not to make it a trend. What we actually want to make it is just the new standard. So hey, with that said, if you dug today's video, please give it a thumbs up, hit the notifications button to be informed when I drop a new one, and be sure to check out this video right here. It's powerful. And again, hey, check out the Masculine Masterclass down below, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace always.